I have trouble falling asleep sometimes, and maybe that's because I didn't have enough dinner, or maybe I'm just really bored. But sometimes when I sleep, I want to go somewhere fun. I want to go somewhere with trees and a forest and a river. And I might be in my PJs right now, but I think that if I were to go somewhere cool and mysterious, it would have one monster and another boat and a big, big adventure. But do I have enough time for that? I'm not really sure. How about we look at another adventure? I might not be able to go to sleep and bring all of you along, but I'm sure that we can find a book where we can, right? Where the wild things are. And I want to figure out where they are and just where they're hiding, so I can pick each of them out and go on a big, wide adventure. Because sometimes when I sleep, I'm just a tad bit bored. Because what's worse than it being 9 p.m. on a Friday night and having to be in bed? The worst part about it all is the silence, when you have to sit and think to yourself for about 10 minutes right before you fall asleep. So I want to give you something you can think about in the 10 minutes right before you fall asleep, with where the wild things are. So let's dive right into it and figure out what we can do right before we fall asleep. And now I look like a true king. Look at my head. But we're gonna take this crown off for this read. I know, but I'll put it right on my little pencil. Whee! Moving on. Where the wild things are. Where the wild things are. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another. His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night, in Max's room, a forest started to grow and grew and grew until his ceilings hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. I wish I had a boat named after me, like a big sailboat that I could use to sail the Mediterranean Sea, and I would be the pirate of all kinds. I would steal all kinds of treasures, like diamonds and tiaras and maybe even rubies, and I could get a ring made of all of the precious jewels, and it would be the best time of my life. And in and out of weeks and almost a year to where the wild things are. Do you think you could sail for more than a year? I can't even imagine what I'm doing next week, let alone a year from now. Can you? Because I know y'all are just kids. And how are you going to imagine what you're going to be when you're all the way old? Like, for example, if you're 6, can you imagine what you'll be doing when you're 7? And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gashed their terrible teeth. Can you give me a real gash with your terrible teeth? Like one of these. Howl and roar. And rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Do you want to see my terrifying claws? Look at these, my claws. They're so scary, and I bet that my teeth are the teethiest teeth of all, because my claws are sharper than any claw you've ever seen. It's sharper than this pencil. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. Do you want to try having a staring contest? Because I do. Look straight into my eyes and try not to blink before I blink. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Ugh, I'm pretty bad at this, and I think Max would beat me in a staring contest. And made him king of wild things. And that's why I lost my crown in the beginning. Woo! I can't win a staring contest with anyone, let alone Max. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start. And as they danced around, Max was the king of them all. Do you think Max can ever go back to his house? Or do you think the Max is stuck with the wild things for the rest of his life? I want you to think of one wild creature, one with horns, maybe even big wings, or maybe even 24 different legs. And I want you to think of one before we move on to our amazing activity where we get to draw our wild thing after all. Wild things. Now, I'm a wild thing and you're a wild thing, and we're gonna figure out together how we're gonna be as wild as possible. All right? So here we have a tiny little monster. And this monster might be super wild, but we don't know that yet because it's not us. And we're gonna draw us as the wildest things on the planet. So let's get started. I want you to pick out a color that you really like. And for me, that's blue. And so I'm gonna take out this blue, and this blue, because I'm feeling wild today. And we're gonna draw big, strong arms, right? Because your arms have to be huge if you're wild, no? And like such. And on the other side. And I'm not gonna have my arms going down. I'm gonna have one arm going all the way up because I am the king of the wild things. And I have 3 fingers because 3 fingers are cool. Now I wanna draw my body and I want it to be big and strong. So I'm gonna draw one like this. And my head has horns on just one side. Because I am almost a unicorn. Like such. And this one's just an ear because I like bears. And I'm gonna draw big feet that let me run super wild this way. Whoop, 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 whoop. And I wanna draw a belly button just right here. Then I'm gonna change to a different color because I'm feeling super adventurous. So I can draw my big eyebrows. And then from my big eyebrows, I want to draw my eyes. And that's also going to be a different color. You ever wish you had different color eyes? That's why, while one side might be blue, the other side is going to be red. I'm going to have one red eye because I'm a huge wild monster. And my mouth is just black. As such. And I seem to have a blue tongue. Like that. Isn't this just the cutest wild thing you've ever seen in your entire life? And then, to add more, I want to do a purple skirt. Like a big one right here. Like a big, nice ballerina. Because whether or not I'm a wild thing, I am still a pretty princess. And as such, and I want you to color in your little outfit. It can be a shirt, it can be a knight, whatever you want it to be. but I wanted to draw a ballerina skirt because I am a pretty little princess. And whether or not I'm a huge wild thing roaming around in the woods that Max drew for me, I know that I am still a pretty wild thing at heart. And now that we've got a nice skirt going, how about we get a little shirt? I think that I want a pink shirt, but I'm not really sure what I want it to be. So let's have a big think, because I can make it a huge, nice, fluffy sweater, or I can make it a nice t-shirt. But I'm feeling t-shirty today. So I'm going to draw a t-shirt shirt right here, all over my arms, and it's gonna be pink because I love my pink. And I'm gonna draw the collar like this, and then another arm right there. And then it's going to be a pretty little shirt. So while I color in the shirt, I want you to tell me what your monster looks like. Do you have a purple monster? A blue monster? Maybe even green? Or is your monster not even a monster? Is it a nice little unicorn? Or does it have human teeth but a big dragon skull? I know that some of you really like the different animals that you can create. So I want you to think about all the different animals that you like in your life. And I quite like a bunny, but I've always been a fan of big, ugly monsters. But I think my monster is turning out to be pretty darn cute, don't you? So I want you to draw a monster as well, something like this that can really inspire you. And I want one arm to be this aqua color, because I think that a good monster who can swim also needs a color of the ocean. So I'm getting a little ocean color going as well. With super nice arms comes super big responsibility. You ever heard that phrase? Yeah, I thought so. So now that we've got one arm this color, do you think my monster's gonna be the same color for the other arm? Nope, the monster's gonna have a green arm, because all monsters are unique and different. My favorite color is blue, but I know that your favorite color can be super different. So maybe green is the color that you decided for the outline of your monster. Well, mine is just blue. And all of our monsters are different and unique. That's what makes our monsters so special. But now that my monster has a big green arm, what do you think the leg color should be? Do you think I should match it to the other things on my drawing? I think so too. I think the eye color and this leg can be the same color. And so, as I draw in my legs and color in, I want you to color in as well, so we can have a nice colorful monster. And by the end of this drawing, we'll have one big monster with so many different colors. I think a rainbow could be really beneficial if it had all different colors of different shades. Doesn't even need to just have the simple 7 that we know and love. And I'm gonna draw in the middle between the skirt and the outline as well, so the drawing doesn't look so pale in between. And now that that's happened, I think my monster is ready for her ballet class soon. Of course my monster goes to ballet. Doesn't yours? Or does it go to swimming lessons, or maybe even practice piano? I think that all monsters are different and beautiful in their own ways. And I want to see what your monster looks like. And my monster just looks all quirky and funky like this, with one horn, one ear, and different color arms, and a bright pink shirt, as well as an insanely colorful leg. This is what my monster looks like. What does your monster look like? Is it different? Is it the same? Or is it not even this shape? I hope that you really enjoyed coming along with me and drawing a monster today. And I hope that you guys can come back and draw another one with me. I hope you enjoyed today's little lesson on how to draw your very own monster. And I'll see you guys next time.